Over the last couple of days, I've heard two statements, each of which I agreed with at the time in isolation, but which, when put together, I struggle to reconcile. I can't see how both can be true at the same time. And it's had me asking a really strange question. Is Rolex the most powerful, the most influential brand in the watch industry, or are they largely irrelevant to the rest of the watch industry? We'll get into this a little bit more after the intro. Hi, I'm Pete McConville. Welcome to my channel. Here I like to overthink, overanalyze, and just geek out on watches far more than a grown man should. In fact, going back and looking at my old videos, I find that I probably talk about things like watch collecting, philosophy of watches, and the watch industry more than actual watches. If that sounds like something you're into, stick with me and we'll see how we get along. Today, what I want to do is talk about the question that I asked in the introduction. Where is Rolex? Where does Rolex sit in the watch industry? It is commonly said, I've said it 1,000 times before, and I know I've read it all over the place, heard it in 1,000 different podcasts, that Rolex is the biggest, most powerful, and most influential watch brand in the industry across the world. They hold 30-something% of the Swiss watch market. 1 in every $3 spent on a Swiss watch goes to Rolex. They are, depending on how you measure it, 2 to 3 times bigger than the next player in the field. So obviously, Rolex is the biggest and most powerful and most influential watch brand in the world. That is an easy thing to agree to. But then something else I read and see and hear and say is that when looking at the watch industry, when looking at what a brand can and must do, Rolex is really only an example of itself. That Rolex is so powerful, that Rolex is so dominant, that it doesn't need to play by the same rules as anyone else. So the question becomes, can those two things be true at the same time? Now, anyone who's watched my channel knows that I normally only do a video when I've got a very strong opinion on something and am prepared to back it up. In this case, I'm not completely on the fence. I do have a leaning, but I'm certainly not prepared to take a stand. Because when I look at Rolex, I keep coming back to its size and its power and its dominance, and I can't help but assume it must be influencing the watch market. But then I think about the behavior of the watch market, what happens with prices, what's happening. If we look at watches and we think about the trends of the last 10 years, retro-inspired designs, collaborations, shaped watches, colored watches, unusual materials, collaborations, lots of limited editions. Rolex hasn't played really in any of those. They certainly haven't led any of them. If you think about what are the changes that have defined the watch landscape in terms of distribution and industry over the last 10 years, it's going online more, boutiques, that sort of thing. But again, if you look at what Rolex has done, they're not playing in that space. While everyone else is going online, they're not. Whilst everyone else is opening single branded boutiques owned by the brands, Rolex is not. Rolex has gone the other way. It's buying bricks and mortar ADs through the Bucherer arrangement. And so I keep thinking, given their power and their size and their dominance, surely Rolex must be a leader. But then when I look at what's happening in the watch industry, Rolex is absent. And if I look at the things that Rolex is doing, no one else is doing that. So I'm really struggling here. Am I missing something? Is there something going on that I'm not getting? What do you guys think? Do you think that if you were running a watch brand, you would be looking towards Rolex and saying that's something I need to do? Or conversely, would you be thinking it wouldn't really matter what Rolex is doing? That's probably not going to work for me. I need to be looking at someone more relevant. Like I said, I'm not sure, but I think I'm leaning towards there being irrelevant. But I can't wait to see what you guys say in the comments. Let me know below, and we'll get into it. I'll probably also have a poll running on the community tab, so I'd love to get your ideas on which side of the fence you fall. Put some numbers on it. I've been Pete McConville. This is what I do. If you enjoy it, like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff, and we will see each other later. Bye.